Welcome to the Muscle of Yarn podcast. It's Monday. It's March 13th.
Yes.
And here we are.
Back.
As promised.
Yes.
Back on the day that we said we were going to be back. That's amazing.
It is kind of amazing, really.
Yeah. Given the past week or so. So
yes.
Stay tuned for the stuff at the end.
The 4,000 useless stories at the end.
Find out more about what's been going on and to hear some updates on Jen's trip.
More than you would ever want to know about it, probably.
Right. And so we are a YouTube cast, podcast, whatever we are classified as. YouTube channel, bringing you information about yarn projects, knitting, sometimes crocheting, other things fiber related from our yarn shop in Shelburne, Vermont, where we sell most of the things that we're going to be talking about today. Occasionally you'll see some guest appearances from things we bought other places, but many of the things are from right here in the store. And you can find the store on social media as Muscle of Yarn, Instagram, Ravelry, Facebook. Follow us on those platforms to get updates on what's happening in the store. Really, Instagram's probably the best one. Ravelry depends on me, and that's
it definitely depends on you because
has
I'm bad.
Some challenges for timeliness, but I tried my best to post stuff up there. That's where most of the cows and make-alongs are posted and run from. And I'm Angela.
I'm Jen.
And you can find me out on social media, Instagram and Ravelry as Junior Bird Kid.
And you can find me on Ravelry as J Arbuckle and on Instagram as Jennifer_Arbuckle.
And as you know, many of you know, that's my personal page. So you're going to find other stuff out there, like pictures from town meeting
from Hawaii.
Town meeting day. Well, Jen was gone.
Right.
It was
right.
Most of our locations here
our
had
civic engagement opportunity.
I'm going to interrupt our normal podcast schedule to tell a really funny story about town meeting day.
I like town meeting day.
I do too. So in Vermont, we still have this tradition where for our local government, we get together at what's called town meeting day. There's lots of things that are voice voted on by the people who are in attendance. And it's a great way to find out like what's going on in the town.
Once a year.
Once a year. So William was gone. He was, I think, winter camping that weekend in the snowstorm. So my husband and I went and we took our 6-year-old because we didn't have her brother wasn't home to like stay home with her. And so we were like, we both want to go. Sorry, you're going to have to come with us. She actually did really well for the entire 2-hour meeting.
Did you bring like a coloring book?
We have like what I refer to as our go bag, which has like colored pencils, coloring, books, like granola bars, like it's got the whole thing. So we brought that. She didn't want that at all. She was engaged. She was watching. They were looking at the book, like, but what we failed to do is tell her she was not allowed to participate in the voice voting.
Oh.
So my child actually made the bingo card. Very first voice vote, which was, shall the town of Moncton set the tax payment date for November 15th, 2023. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed signify by saying no. And you hear one little voice from the back of the room. No!
Oh, that's too funny.
Every adult within hearing distance, was busting a gut dying. And we were just like, oh my God. We were like, Abigail, you can't vote. And she was like, oh.
Why?
No, she was just very confused. Nobody informed her that she was not allowed to participate.
Also, you should have known better, and you know your daughter.
Also, I'm very concerned about my contrarian child. just voted
wants
no.
To make sure that no is represented. Oh, that's hilarious. Oh dear.
Yep. That was fun.
It could have been worse. It could have been like
could have been something that was hotly contested.
Right. Snowplows, for example, or something.
Ours, that was not the contested issue on our ballot this year. Yeah.
I have no idea what was contested in my town. I didn't.
Yeah. So anyway, fun
That's
stories
hilarious.
from town meeting. Yes.
Yeah.
But anyway, all right. So now they've totally derailed
Right.
this whole situation with another story, even though we have like 35 minutes of stories at the end. We like to start our podcast with our podcast pick.
Are we doing that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, what are we doing?
What is happening?
Who's in charge?
I don't know. Ariana's in charge because
That's right.
she was
Thank
like,
God.
here, use this. We were like, I was like, great, awesome. So we have a new to us yarn that we just got in stock. It is a chunky yarn, so we're still doing some heavier weight yarns. And with the impending snowstorm tonight into tomorrow, you may appreciate a little bit thicker.
Depending on
yarn.
where you are, there may or may not be a snowstorm, despite
Right.
what the weather people are
Yeah, the
telling
weather
you.
people have literally lost it.
Northeaster, which apparently might be 3 inches here. Southern Vermont, I guess, could get a little bit more.
Yeah,
but
I'll
still,
believe it when
honestly.
I see it. If we even get snow
Right.
at this point. It's like 43 degrees outside. It's going to have to cool down a lot for us to get snow. But anyway, I digress on the weather. So this new yarn is Hayfield Spirit Chunky. It looks like it's from England. And it is an acrylic wool blend. And it comes in a bunch of really kind of cool colors. So this is 100 gram skein, 169 yards. So it almost was reading more like an Aran.
Yeah.
Aran
Instead
light,
on size 11.
light, bulky.
US
like
11
it's,
needles.
you know, somewhere in there.
10 and a half, 11. Yeah.
So, you know, we've got these really kind of cool
Yeah.
colors.
Long repeats of color.
Long
you can
repeats.
see on the sweater.
Machine washable. So, you know, good for kids' garments that are going to get sort of hard use. You know, you could do I think
It's
there's
a nice feel.
yeah, it's got a really nice feel to it. It feels more like a wool. It has a little like Encore. It's actually
It's a little bit
softer
nicer, maybe.
than
Yeah.
Encore.
Just a hair.
Maybe more like a Baroque, like a vintage.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
Nice colors. The color palette
Yeah.
is really good.
Really pretty.
We sold up quite a bit this weekend. It seems like this is a nice blue mix.
I did not look up how much this is because I was doing
I don't know either. I don't remember.
so much and then just missed that.
I did nothing.
Let
for
me
wander.
pull that up real quick just so I can tell you guys how much it is. So you know the drill. We're going to give you a code, and for the next 2 weeks you can get 10% off in online or in store for any
And
of
the
our
code
in
will
stock.
be
I know
PP,
you're on that.
Spirit. Right? We haven't done that before, have we?
No, I don't think so. Why?
So while you're doing that, I'll talk about the sweater.
Okay.
Since I do have that information right here on a card next to me. So Ariana knit this little tiny sweater. Like, we got the yarn in last week, and she somehow knit it by the weekend, so it must have been a quick knit. It's a little hiker pullover by Melissa LeBerry. And you can see the color, how long the color repeats are. Obviously, this is a small circumference sweater, so on a grown-up sweater, you know, the stripes would be a little bit narrower. And you can see on the sleeve, because it's so much smaller in circumference, that the stripes are chunkier.
It's $7.99 a skein. So
That's a really good deal.
Super affordable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is probably part of the reason why we brought it in. It's got a really nice
Yeah.
price point on it.
Yeah. And also because I think in the bulky or chunky way, we didn't really have something that had these color, you know, these long stripes that people, or the long color repeats that people like for all kinds of different projects.
Yeah. Hats would be awesome on a
Yeah.
hat.
And it gives you, it just has really, there's such a nice palette of colors.
I like this one.
Yeah.
Surprise, surprise,
Right.
surprise. Purple, grays, and
Yeah.
teals.
This one's kind of neutral, which is nice. And then this orange and brown and green
This
one.
one's also nice.
Oh, it's a nice neutral too. Yeah.
Like
Got
beachy
some
colors.
nice yellow in it though. Yeah. Yeah. And then rainbow-ish and sort of pinks and grays. Probably my favorite, shockingly. So yeah, PP Spirit, 10% off at your favorite local yarn store.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that'll run through the end of the month. So,
Right.
yep.
Right.
To the last day of the month, 31st of March.
You see all sides of the sweater.
Yeah,
It's very
it's
much the
cute
same.
little,
Let me
cute little guy.
lift it back up and move it. Wait, it was giving me, making me feel a little constrained. Before.
Yeah. Well,
Plus, there's another sweater we have to talk about a little bit.
right?
Yeah.
So let's start with what you're wearing.
I am wearing the Boho Shell
Mhm.
by Annie Lupton. So one thing I noticed this morning when I pulled this out.
Mm-hmm. That's the one that rubbed off on your hands.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. It's a little bit lighter than it used to be. So I think as I wash it, it's losing some color. That's my theory.
Color's not fully set.
Yeah, and I set it with whatever that stuff is. I forget the name of it, but I bought the special chemical stuff and I set it. I don't have the magic touch. And just 6 inches closer to the occupancy sensor than I am. So anyway, it's fine. Even if it fades more, it'll be fine.
Mhm.
But it's a nice little topper for this time of year.
Yeah.
And it will be, you can wear it as a sleeveless top in the summertime. So
Nice.
Yeah.
So I pulled.
you haven't worn that one. For a
I
while.
have not
just
worn
realized
this one
that.
for a while.
Yeah.
So it's an oldie
Okay.
but goodie. This is Dark and Stormy. Probably one of my more favorite cardigans. I wear it at home a lot, like in the evenings, just to like put on like over my pajamas and stuff. Partially because this is a exercise in perhaps not picking the right yarn for the project. So it's I knit this 10 years ago. I was actually looking at my Ravelry project
Yeah, I
page.
remember.
It's like
So because I remember you knitting it, so
Yeah,
I was
20
like,
2014.
when was that?
Yeah. So this is some yarn that I picked up at Rhinebeck. And it's super beautiful yarn. But it's a wool alpaca silk blend. And so it is super gorgeous. But it is not good with a shawl collar that you want to like have stand up and sit the way it's supposed to, because it's floptastic. The silk and the alpaca just make it be like, we want to be drapey.
Yes.
And so the color does weird things. I don't really care.
You should show the back.
I should show the back because the back is
beautiful.
really pretty. It's got giant like cables.
So pretty. Yeah.
Like so many of Thea Coleman's sweaters and sweater patterns, and this is one that I would love to knit again in like a wool that I know like the collar is gonna stand up.
Yeah.
Like wool stock or like one of those.
Classic wool. Yeah.
Yeah. But then part of me is like, she has so many other great cardigans. Like, just knit one of the other ones.
I'm
She's
not
got
good
a
at number
lot
twos.
of
I
like
the,
shawl collar-y type cardigans. So I think I'll pick a different one.
Yeah. It doesn't
but-
look bad. It doesn't look floppy.
Okay.
It looks fine.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
It was supposed to have buttons, and I think that there's actually buttonholes in here. I never bothered with it because it just it's fine.
Yeah. I have some cardigans that I button, but usually they're like really boxy ones that are like the big ones, the ones that are a little bit closer to my body. I don't really.
If I reknit this again, I probably wouldn't even bother with the buttonholes on the button band because I just would know that I would want
And
to
if you
wear it
really
open.
wanted to pull, you could just pin it closed,
pin
like
it
with a
closed,
nice
yeah.
pin or something, shawl pin. Yeah.
So this is a 10-year-old knit. It's still doing good. It's got a little bit of pilling on it, but not
Early days
a
of
huge
knit
amount.
group.
Very early days of knit group.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2014.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember.
And I had my hydrangea shawl on, which is also gray. Apparently it's a black and gray day for me today with a little pop of color.
Right. I had my shift on.
But
on my
I took
had
it
my
off
the
'cause
shift on.
a little hot, a little warm with it on.
Yeah, it was a little too much. Plus, it always gets caught in my earrings. The shift, no matter what I don't know what it is.
Which is why I don't have this sweater on because it is not cold.
A warm sweater.
It's very warm.
Yeah, it's not heavy though.
It's not because it's
Even
light
up here
and
where-
airy,
yeah.
but it's gonna be really warm. So this is cyan. I clearly got the sleeves done. I got all the ends woven in. I haven't blocked it yet.
I don't know that it needs blood. Well,
I think some of this would just.
it's pretty good though.
It is pretty good, but I think it would be even better.
It does
with
make a little bit of a
blocking.
difference when I block this. It made a difference.
So I did decide to do the detail
Oh
on
yeah,
the sleeves.
I think that's good. Now that I see it.
Because I went. So one of the great things about Ravelry is being able to go look at other projects that people had done, and so
Yeah.
I went and looked at all the and I was
Yeah.
like, I think I actually really like the color on the
Yeah.
sleeve. Like, I
Mhm.
think it adds. Not
You could have just
detracts.
done like the thing around the bottom,
Yeah.
but I think it's nice with the pattern too.
I like it with the pattern.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
It sort of makes the cuff,
Mm-hmm.
even though the cuffs are straight.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I guess they are a little. Anyway, that little detail is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this
Pretty.
sweater is knit out of Fernbridge Farm, or Fern worsted. So it's Kelly's from Kelly's Sheep. It was phenomenal to work with. It's beautiful, delightful yarn. If you have the ability to get your hands on some of it, I would highly recommend it. It works up so nicely, and it's just super. Feels really good on the hands.
Mhm.
Like, really nice to work with.
Mm-hmm.
And like so many 100% wool, there are a lot of spit splices in here, and there was so few ends for me to weave
Yeah,
in because
yeah,
when
that's
I
a
got
good
to the
thing,
next
right.
ball, I was just able to like felt the ends together and just keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's always a good thing when that happens.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So I'm really pleased with the way this turned out. It's
Yeah.
going to be a really warm sweater. I'm looking forward to wearing it in the fall when I have to go to cold
have another day.
October soccer.
You might have another day or two here in March.
Maybe for some cold baseball this spring.
Yeah.
It'll be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I don't. I have some sort of finished objects, but they're a story to tell when we get to Seasons of Vermont. So
Okay.
I'll just pause.
I
So I
have
have one web other than
a
that.
finished object, a very odd finished object that nobody has seen me working on. It's a very bright orange
It sure is.
stocking cap. I had a request in my house for some
Mhm.
blaze orange stuff for being in the woods during hunting season.
Mm-hmm.
So this is
One of two.
one of two. I've got the second one. This is all like one skein of yarn. I'm not sure if this is going to be able to be as tall. Probably, though. What I have come to
You're fine.
learn
Yeah.
is that I am really bad at telling how much yarn I have left and whether I can make it to the end.
Weigh it.
It doesn't matter.
Well, you can weigh this hat,
Oh,
and
that's
then you
true.
can weigh all of that and see if you have enough.
That's true.
I'm aware. I like to
sure
weigh things. That's my
that
new approach.
I will be fine. I was having panic attacks about whether I was going to have enough of the lighter color
Oh.
to finish the two sleeves.
Mm-hmm.
It was fine. I have so much left. I have no concept of like how much yarn I use.
I have really moved into the camp that weighs the yarn because it seems to me like it's the easiest way to tell.
I should
Because
do
I
that.
can't, otherwise you're just guessing and it's like yards, but the yards I don't even know. And the weight is not a perfect metric either, but for me, it seems to work better.
So
like it's easier.
and this like you can stop. The top part of this hat like takes it's like 8 rounds maybe at the most. So I think
You're fine.
it'll be fine. So it's 2 hats out of 1 skein. It's some acrylic yarn I got at Michael's because really there's only so many
Encore.
places. Oh, Encore comes in this color.
Yes.
Do
And
we have it in
I think
stock?
we actually do because I noticed it
Oh.
yesterday. I could be wrong. We order it periodically because usually before hunting season, which this is not. Usually it's in the fall.
Right.
I feel like we have some because I noticed it yesterday because it's
Really?
very bright, and I was like,
Well,
"Ooh."
I may go pick up another skein
Yeah.
because I feel like a neck warmer. And then like somebody was like, "Can you make me a balaclava?" And I was just like, "Oh my god, oh.
No, the answer is no.
Maybe just dial it back."
Right. Yeah. Yes, you can use the pattern that I use. I love that balaclava.
Okay.
Antifreeze, it's called.
Yeah,
Great
cool.
pattern.
Nice.
Does not have like eyes and a mouth. It just has one circle in the middle, and it's an easy pattern.
Nice.
Yeah.
So anyway, so finished object and then a partial finished object. This was like an in-between project from finishing this and then trying to decide which Woolens and Nosh sweater I was going to knit because I may or may not have also bought some more yarn from her.
I thought you had enough for a sweater.
I bought more.
That's good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But I see you started the yarn that you actually bought.
It did. So I suppose I can talk about that.
Yes.
But I'm not knitting what I originally said I was going to knit out of
I
it.
don't remember what I vaguely remember.
It was the Andrea Mowry one of her sweaters.
Oh,
that
Farmer's Daughter?
Ginny, maybe.
Oh,
or,
Jenny. Yeah, no, it was Jenny. Yeah.
Yeah.
It had like the pearl bump rows and the.
Yeah, and some like cables and
Yeah.
stuff. It was really pretty.
Mhm.
And I'd seen it in tweed.
We had
yarn
it here
before,
for
and
the
we had it
American
here
U
for a
show
while.
that we had from CC, right?
Yep. And then I just got jumpy with the skinny arms thing and like not wanting to knit another cardigan where I felt like I couldn't squeeze my arms into the
Just have to adjust a little.
I know. I was feeling
Yes.
particularly lazy.
Cranky about that,
And cranky.
understandably.
So I found this sweater called Sweetie Tweety. Again, it's meant to be knit out of tweedy type yarn.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a cardigan.
It's a pretty color.
Thank you. I
Mhm.
love Michelle's colors.
Yeah.
It has this very interesting, I should have brought the pattern because I had a picture on it, but we'll link it in show notes so you can go see. It has this really sort of cool, like, cable-y detail on the side where it comes down in like a triangle and like the pearl bumps get bigger under the arm, and it's kind of like a traveling cable, so there's some extra detail in the sweater. And it just looked really gorgeous.
Yeah, it sounds nice.
Yeah, it's something a little different. The construction's interesting. Like, I don't know if you can see the shoulders there. So you start with like the back, and then you like pick up and knit like the front one, and then pick up and knit the other one, and then you join them at the underarm.
Oh, yeah.
So it's got some really kind of interesting construction going on.
It has a drop shoulder.
Has a little bit of a drop shoulder for the cardigan. So I was like, okay, that's better. That seems to me
Right.
pretty. Looks wide enough.
Nice.
Yeah, I did actually. I knit a gauge watch, you guys. I know, right? Who am I? What's happening? I left
I was
it.
a little concerned. I was a long ways away. I couldn't
right?
stop her.
She goes to Hawaii, and I knit a gauge watch because I didn't know what else to do. I don't have it because I left it attached to my ball of yarn, and after it dried, I ripped it out and used it to knit
That's
with.
what I do with them. I
So,
don't like to save them.
You can actually.
Although it occurred to me since I'm teaching a class on finishing, it would be nice to have some swatches that I don't actually have to knit this week, which I do.
You can actually kind of tell there. You can see where. Like,
it'll block out.
It'll block
That's
out,
fine.
but like this stuff's a little like there's a little line there where
Yeah.
it shifted
Yeah.
from the already blocked knitted with stuff to the regular plain yarn. So I've been working on that one. I love this yarn. This is Woolens and Nosh. It's a Tweedy DK. This is I think it's the fig colorway. Yeah, fig colorway.
Mm-hmm.
Super gorgeous.
Yeah, it's a nice purple.
Very nice purple. But I did buy yarn to make the drawing sweater. You've seen that one. That's the one with the hand drawn flowers that are usually done in like white, and then like the background's like the blues.
Andrea knit one.
Yeah, Andrea
Yeah.
knit one.
Yeah. Yeah. I like
so
that pattern. That's pretty.
Gorgeous. I got yarn that's white for the flowers, and then like a light teal color, and then a really dark teal color. And then I looked at the pattern and went, oh my god, look at all these charts, because it's not a standard repeat.
Because the flowers are like
they're
all over
random.
the place. Yeah.
They're totally random.
They start
So
out like grouped together and then they
different
disperse. Yeah.
charts for every section, and so like the charts are like just long. And my brain went, I'm gonna start this Tweety sweater. Come back and look at this again.
Yeah.
I will actually knit it. I'm
Yeah.
pretty excited. Michelle's yarn is gorgeous. And
Yeah.
it'll make a gorgeous drawing sweater, but I had a moment.
Yeah. Indeed. I can imagine that you did. Yes.
I saw 20 pages of charts.
Yeah.
And
that would be a bit.
Some of them are for different sizes, so it's not like you need all 20 pages, but my brain just could not at that point in time take it.
Like sometimes you just have to you can't start that at night.
No.
That's
No.
my experience. I'm too tired at night to start something like that. That's the problem there. It has to be something like fresh on a Saturday morning when there's like, a cup of coffee and
Right.
tea and you're good to go.
Right.
Yeah, and you're fresh.
I mean, that's why I have this orange hat over here, because I was, and I was waiting for that to block out. And then I was also trying to decide which one do I cast on, and do I want to try that? Do I?
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Yeah.
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 So,
Your travel knitting.
my travel knitting, which I would have thought so I started this on the plane.
Mm-hmm.
That's the second flight, the long flight out. And so this, you may remember last time, is the Slabadub or whatever from Legacy Fiber Arts. There's not actually a color name for this. I'm sure they have one, but I don't know what it is. And I did decide to use the white or cream colored with it.
I like that one.
And I'm really happy with the way it's looking.
I like that a lot.
So it's on the needles, and I'm halfway through a row. Sorry. It's also on the really small needle because it's not on the big needle because I had to use the big needle for the actual project that I needed it for, and I have not transferred it over, even though I actually thought I would be done with it by now. So this is based on the Tassels in the Sky pattern by Vincent something. I'm sorry. I don't have his name right in front of me. The only difference is that his pattern is all stockinette, and I did these purl rows every, I don't know, they're not measured rows, they're eyeballed, because it was curling up and it was annoying.
When a design element becomes a sanity feature.
Even though it will have a tassel, which will hold it down, it just was annoying me, and it will be blocked. So it's like the easiest pattern in the world. It's just straight stockinette. But I actually really like the purl bump rows the way they are. And so the other thing is like how many of the slubs are on the back versus on the front. But the back is really pretty as well. So I might, when I block it, pull some through, or I don't know what. But anyway, so I'm very happy. It was really great mindless knitting.
Yeah, awesome.
And then we started doing stuff on vacation, and I just sort of put it down and didn't come back to it because once I had my correct size needle, I was going to continue working on Seasons of Vermont, which is, I thought I had a deadline for, which I did until I got back and changed it.
And change the deadline, which is fine because trying to make last week for everybody, I think would have been challenging.
Yeah.
So Jenna actually cast on the socks with the yarn.
Oh, you did?
Awesome. I was like, I have to
Right.
cast these on. She went to all that trouble to wet this yarn for me.
I could have been knitting, and instead I was helping her.
Right.
by doing my bit.
But look at how fun this yarn is.
That's the Biscot yarn.
Yeah.
It's pretty.
Isn't that gorgeous?
Yeah, really pretty. Is that the? Weren't they Harry Potter? That's not a Harry Potter.
That's
color.
not Harry Potter. They had my Harry Potter house cup was gone by the time I got there.
Mm-hmm.
So this is this colorway is called Burlesque.
Yeah.
Which is it's do I have the tag in here? Nope, that's Woolens and Nosh. I don't know. But anyway, there it is. That was my here it is.
Beautiful ball of yarn.
Yes.
Very nicely handcrafted.
85 superwash merino, 15% nylon. It
really
feels
soft.
like it has like cashmere or something else
it's
in
really
it.
soft.
It's really nice to work with. This is my town meeting day cast on and project.
Are they short? They're short.
They're short. I don't like super long socks anymore. It annoys me. So I've been knitting lots of short socks.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, pretty.
Yeah, I got all the way through town meeting. I got all the way through the heel, and I turned the heel, and then I was like, I don't really feel like picking up the stitches, so I just did that the other night. We were watching a movie.
Yeah.
So at night in the dark, trying to pick up on a dark yarn row was awful.
Well, I have a similar story about these Seasons of Vermont projects.
Had to bust out my reading glasses, which I don't enjoy
is it dark
reading.
or are
It's
you
both.
approaching the line?
It's both. It was both.
Yes.
Dark. It was dark yarn, and then tired eyes at the end of the day, and trying to look at really small things. And I was like, I have to like bust out the reading glasses. Just, oh, look, I can see my stitches. Like, that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So yes.
That's how it all starts.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
It's true. So are you done? Yes.
Yeah.
So Seasons of Vermont is going to release on the first day of spring, whatever that is.
That's actually a fun.
Yes, it'll be great. Except for we'll do it every season, except for the end. We'll
Right, because
release
we
that
won't
one
make you
early.
wait till December
21st.
21st to release the box. We'll do it a month early.
Yeah. So,
I'll be in the winter solstice pregame
right.
in like November.
Exactly.
A month early.
That's right. So so this is the beginning of talking about it, though.
Yes.
While I've been talking about it a little bit, and people have seen it. But this is the yarn. So Junction Fiber Mill did a special colorway for us, and then we have a cream one to go with it. So this is called Shine Your Light, because light is our theme for spring. And it is really just such a great colorway, and you'll see it in the pattern here a little bit, but it's like I sent them like fields of tulip flowers as the inspiration photo, and so they just pulled every tulip color you can imagine and stuffed it in there. So it's beautiful, it's really fun and nice to knit with, and it's a DK weight, so it's about 210 yards and 100 grams, and it's just, it's their making tracks, 100% wool. And the white one is farm fresh, so it's a blend of many different farms, I think. So that's the yarn. So there's a twofer pattern. So there's like a little bucket hat, which is super cute. It has a little brim that sort of does something. So posies and plaid, and then there are going to be mitts to go with it. And so, they're a little messy because they're still in progress, but
those are cool.
You can see the color changing, which is kind of fun. So the story is I made the hat, I didn't like the top. So I took the top out all the way back down to like here and re-knit the top. So I'm pretty happy with this top. Now
nice.
it looks good.
Yep.
This has been blocked, so it sort of has settled its way back in again. I made this mitt before I left. I started this mitt while I was gone, and I knit just about the entire thing, and except for the thumb. And I came home and I realized that I had knit another one of these. Not this one.
Oh no!
So I took it all the way back down to the ribbing, and I re-knit the entire thing this weekend. So that's part of just like the whole thing. I was like, bad word, bad word, bad word. We're not doing this week. I just can't deal with this. So anyway, so that was fun. But that will all be in the pattern. There's not really a name for the pattern yet. I have to think about that a little bit. Or if you have any bright ideas. You know how I like to have a punny name, so.
Light the way.
Right. I thought of something while I was gone, but of course it's gone. Who knows what that was? But so then we have some other things, of course. So we did a custom bag for this one in a fun color, just in a springy color. So cotton drawstring bags.
Also supporting one of our local, one of our local people here who made the bags for us.
And then we have yet another.
I mean, I feel like this is like William's bag with all of like lime green, like
right.
you know,
lemon verbena wool wash.
So good.
Yeah, the whole back of the store is going to smell pretty good now because I opened the box today and I just love the color. I didn't know it was going to be this color actually, but it's just amazing. Awesome. And then one of our employees here made stitch markers, so there'll be some colored stitch markers that match the yarn a little bit.
So fun.
Yeah. And I feel like, and then Ange is in charge of drinks for this.
I'm in charge of drinks this time, guys.
Yes.
So we're going to have drink recipes in with every box, and I'm doing both a cocktail recipe and a mocktail recipe. So it doesn't require that you drink. And we have gotten maple syrup. There's a great company here that's local to us. It's called Run Amok Maple. If you haven't checked them out, their Instagram is worth following and just getting on their email list because they are doing some really cool stuff with infused maple syrups. I heard about them or learned about them when they first started doing the sparkle syrup in 2020 during sort of COVID lockdown stuff. And it just seemed like a fun way to kind of entertain my children.
Not sure if you can see how sparkly it is, but it is very
But
sparkly.
so they put food grade mica in their syrup, and it is actual sparkly.
This is the bottom that I'm shaking up.
Yeah, it does settle, and you do have to shake it up quite a bit. So our first box has their sparkle syrup in it, the little 2-ounce container, and there's going to be a recipe in for a maple lemonade, which is sort of the mocktail version that is made with the sparkle syrup. And then the cocktail recipe is something called Diamonds Are Forever. So again, made with our sparkle syrup. And so we're going to be highlighting a different Run Amok product to go in the drinks menu. The drinks recipes.
Maple syrup.
Yeah, it's Vermont maple syrup.
And who doesn't like a beverage?
And they do some really cool flavors. And they do a lot of different recipes. So most of our recipes have come from them. So they've been created, developed, tested. So that's pretty exciting, pretty fun. And we're really, really happy to be bringing you another Vermonti product. You can always use it for pancakes too. Like, you don't have to put it in a drink, but
you should.
You should.
You should definitely.
Yeah.
There might even be enough for both.
I just got some chocolate cocoa infused maple syrup from them. It's like chocolate flavored maple syrup.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So much trouble.
Yeah. So I think that's the first box. I'm pretty excited about it. It's come together really nicely. And then we have some really great things coming for the future boxes. So you'll just have to stay tuned and see what they are.
Drinks in every box.
That's right. Yes.
Pretty exciting.
And also some nice yarn.
Yeah. And fun yarny stuff too.
That's right.
Yes.
Exactly right. Yeah. We are going to do one of these wool wash bars in every box as well this year because they're so nice and they have so many great smells. Awesome.
It's fun.
So, yeah. And she makes the soap in my hometown that I grew up in southern Vermont. Yeah.
Keeping it here in Vermont.
Yeah.
Vermont.
And her daughter, actually, I went to high school with her daughter, so it's
nice.
very,
That's fun.
it is close to home. Everything in Vermont is close to home. That's why we live here.
Exactly. So, and we have one more yarn to show you guys
great.
that's brand new.
And follow up to that.
And that's on the heels of that. So we have brought in and are now stocking making tracks. So this is from Junction Fiber Mill. And it's, their standard versions of that. The one Jen was showing was a custom one they did for us, but they have a whole bunch of others. This is just a fraction. We didn't bring in all of their colorways, but we got
a nice selection.
Nice selection of them.
Yeah.
So this is, they have it labeled as a DK weight.
It knits up as a DK.
Oh, it knits as a DK? Okay, so it is a DK weight.
It's like a heavy DK though.
210 yards for approximately 100 grams. It's $32. It's spun right here in Vermont, Junction Fiber Mill in White River Junction.
Dyed here in Vermont.
Everything.
Complete Vermont product.
So super cool. It's like it's that barber pole style,
It's a really nice yarn. I will say this.
Really
it's
nice.
really soft.
Yeah.
It's really great to knit with. And so this, I'm using a size 6 needle. So, and this is color work. So, stranded color work. So it's, look at the inside.
You could use this yarn for a lot of the spin cycle. I think that's technically like a sport weight yarn, but do a gauge swatch.
Yeah. So I think it really does. It does, even though it's 210 yards, so it's almost a worsted weight. I think it really is.
So there are some spin cycle patterns that are for their worsted weight line. So those might be ones that you could substitute this for versus the more sport weight one, which is much lighter weight.
Yeah, and also it looks really plump, and it is. But when you knit with it, it
down.
does squish a little bit. So
it's like this.
Yeah.
Actually, that's where Kelly had her yarn spun. It's
at that's right.
Fiber Mill, which is why it's very squishy. So this is worsted weight yarn that I knit, and the pattern I knit was called for DK weight. So I went up a needle size and went down a pattern size.
Yeah.
From what I would have knit.
Yeah.
And it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
I haven't checked my gauge to tell you how far my gauge is off. sweater fits, so I don't really care.
That's the important thing.
Right? Does the sweater fit?
Gauges the material if it fits.
If it fits. So the Making Tracks, is available on our website. So that's been put up there. I'm just making myself a note to make sure I link to this for you guys. I did note as I was looking through this here, clearly did not make it all the way through show notes when I was putting some stuff on them earlier today, that we were supposed to close the clock along.
Well, just barely though, this weekend, right?
Right, so daylight savings was yesterday. So we will close the thread when I remember.
So maybe I should go assemble my clock and post it in there tonight. Because I have it all done and the pieces are all made. I just haven't assembled it.
And then we'll pull prizes when we come back in 2
Not
weeks.
that I'm eligible, but just so people can see it.
I'm just going to write myself a note to pull prizes. We did have a suggestion in the comments that we should do a project bag roulette along.
Project bag roulette along. Oh,
right, which
funny.
is just you pick a random project bag that you have
Absolutely.
and that's what you have to make. That's actually hilarious.
We should do that.
That's pretty funny.
We could do it all year long, or like 3 times or something. That would be hilarious. Yeah.
So I do have...
I'm afraid I'm not going to participate.
I do have a thread up about the Woolens and Nosh make along with her. So it's her tonal yarn make along that's running through almost the end of June. For knitting a sweater out of her yarn. She was running a special for a while on sweaters quantity of yarn. I don't know if it's still going on, but she was for a little bit. That was what the impetus was to get this going and then apparently buy more yarn, because that's what I do. In sort of my reorganization, I did...
Did you find some yarn in that closet?
Oh my god. I now have a bin.
Let's take bets.
Right, no, there was definitely yarn in there.
Oh, okay.
That's where a lot of the new yarn was. I now have a large bin of yarn that is sweater quantities of fingering weight. The second one that is sweater quantities of worsted DK weight. And then I have an unknown
none of those were
unknown
applicable.
number of bins of just random skeins. Actually,
Yeah.
Woolens and Nosh has its own bin at this point.
Yes, it does.
It does. I have a lot of her self-striping yarn. Not that it's beautiful and it's gorgeous. I need to knit with it. That's what I need to do. To knit faster.
Yes, this is the problem with all of the knitting.
I might have signed up for her sock club too. I don't know. Maybe. I'll get around to it.
Yeah.
But at least all of my sweater quantities of yarn are now in bins and they're labeled. So when I think like, oh, I want to go knit a fill in the blank sweater, maybe I should go check my stash first. It's all together.
Excuse me. Sorry.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to make that comment, but I'll let you make it.
Yeah,
for
there
you.
was a few days of chaos there as I was bringing the rest of my stuff
As Ange and her
downstairs.
husband are cleaning out that room, and Ange is hiding yarn behind her as she leaves the room.
I was cleaning it by myself.
Oh, right. You weren't handing things like a bucket brigade down the hallway?
No.
And some things just couldn't go in the bucket brigade.
That's why a lot of things got thrown away, because I was told everything in there was mine. So I was like, oh, well, if nobody's going to claim this, then it's just going
Ooh.
away.
Wow. Has anyone been pawing through the garbage bags yet?
Nope.
Did they know that it's not all theirs?
I don't know. They told me all the stuff left was mine. So,
Okay.
yep, I went with it.
Interesting. Did any tools get thrown away?
Oh, no.
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 Yeah.
No. There's a whole entire room for that downstairs.
Right.
Yep.
So it's probably a fair statement, because obviously whatever was in there was not being used because he didn't know it was in there.
Right.
So
Yeah.
if I could only be that judicious with my own things.
A huge amount of it was also stuff that was being retained that was kids' stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
apparently that's my responsibility. My things. Okay.
I'm pretty sure the kids are shared, but I could be wrong about that.
Who knew?
Right.
Um,
I'm guessing he thought it was all yarn. Is that possible?
I don't know.
Was the yarn sort of fronting the other stuff?
A little bit. I mean, there was also lots of like office
Yeah.
supply kind of things in there too that the household uses.
Right.
Just
You could just dump all that on his desk. He's the one who works from home.
Mm.
Yeah, he's the one who needs that stuff.
Yeah.
Or maybe he could build himself another table to put all that stuff on.
He
in
built
the
me a
basement.
table to put that stuff on in the
Right.
basement.
Right. Right.
So it's fine.
Yes.
It all worked out.
It's always
but-
fun. It's worse when you live by yourself, honestly.
Because then it is all
Because
your
then-
stuff.
There's no one else to have
all
this
your stuff.
conversation with.
Yes.
Yes, and you're like, having a heated conversation with yourself.
With yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I am also currently baffled at myself as to where all of this fabric came from. I mean,
Well, you used
I
to
know
quilt, right? I mean,
where it came from, but wow, I'm pretty sure it's been reproducing down there because, like, what?
well, you quilted and then you made all those masks. and then
It
you-
was all from the masks making stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because there's probably lots of leftovers that
Lots
are
of
like
left-
of a
and-
reasonable
and-
size.
Some of that I just have been brutal with. I'm just like, it's going. Like, I'm keeping these scraps for what? I'm
Yeah.
not going to use them.
If they're like a yard or more, you could probably donate them, but anything less than that,
Yeah.
I don't think anybody will take. Yeah.
Yeah, I have some ideas for things
You
that
could make yourself a million fat quarters, Ange.
I made a bunch of pillowcases
Yeah.
last fall and was donating them to like kids auctions and stuff.
Yeah.
That uses up a ton of fabric,
Mhm.
so I may
Yeah.
do some more of those. Like, there's plenty of, I think, of like shelters and other places
Yeah.
where you can donate that kind of stuff too.
Yeah.
So I just, I've got to get it organized and
Yeah.
pull it out and
Is there anything
make it
that's lime
happen.
green in there?
oh, probably.
Pillowcases for your son.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's tough. It's amazing how much stuff we accumulate, and it's hard to throw it away, even when you know that you need
Yeah.
to. And it is very energizing to throw it away, but it is hard for me because I always feel guilty.
I do to a point, and then I'm
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah.
the alternative is I create a box
hmm
and it goes in the box and then it sits in my house for months
Yeah.
as I'm still filling the box or haven't.
No, believe me,
Yeah.
when I was cleaning out a room to
Yeah.
move stuff around, I opened boxes that I brought with me 18 years ago to this house.
Yeah.
And some of them are things, my childhood stuffed animals. I'm not going to, I don't know why I'm keeping them because I never gave them to my niece and I didn't have kids and,
Right.
but I don't know. It's hard. Those are hard for me to throw away. But so some of it is stuff like that, which apparently my niece will have to throw away for me in 20 years or whatever, for 40 years. Or whoever gets to clean out my house. Lucky girl.
I did cull a bunch of like knitting books and some quilting books and things that I know they're either not my style or I won't use them. I think I'm going to donate them to the book sale that our town library has every year.
Yeah.
They're good craft books. Like they're,
Yeah.
Nice quality, like decent ones. I'm not going to use them. So why?
Yeah.
Why?
I definitely have some knitting books that I
Yeah.
don't need to hang on to anymore either.
Yeah.
Every now and then I go pawing through them for something though, so I haven't quite gotten to that point yet.
This
And they all fit on a
group-
bookshelf right now. I don't have to
no, mine I have a lot, and also that apparently they've been reproducing when I'm not looking.
Yeah.
These ones I know for sure. Like I just know
Yeah.
enough about like my knitting style and like
Yeah.
what I'm into knitting these days that
Yeah.
as much as I appreciate the Estonian lace, like I am not going to
Yeah.
knit an Estonian lace shawl, and so I don't need that book.
Right. But someone else might want it.
Somebody else
Yeah,
might want it.
People.
Right.
And those book sales are good for stuff like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
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 So
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
yeah.
On the other hand, when it's all gone, you're just like, wow.
Right?
It's pretty
It
exciting.
kind of makes me feel like that I have a lot more work to do and like a lot more things that I could get rid of.
So I have done several purges in my house, and it is, because you get to the point where you're just like, I'm so done with all this stuff lying around my house. And again, I live by myself, so those executive decisions get made. And often what I'll do is I'll box them all up, and like a month later, if I haven't gone looking for something, then I'm done with it.
Yep.
Even though it's been sitting there for 15 to 18 years. Give it one more month, just in case.
Just in case. You never know.
Yes, right.
So.
Because suddenly that's when you need whatever that magic item is.
Right.
Yeah. But
So
yeah.
I think that's probably our signal. The
It
lights went
is.
out again.
Yes. Plus, we've been at this for
For
a bit.
a long time. It's a
Because
long
I told
podcast.
too many stories.
We have a lot of stories at the
Yeah,
end.
they're all
so,
good, though. They're hilarious.
Yeah, they are good.
You should definitely stay for them.
Yeah, totally. So
Yes.
thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for everybody's comments.
Yeah.
I try to be good about responding or at least acknowledging comments. I may
I
have
read them every 3 months.
missed some. It's been also an interesting week. Not as crazy as Jen's, but
I do read them every now and then, but I get like, it just, it's funny because I used to watch the podcast when I wasn't on it, and now I don't watch it because I know it's been said.
No, it's
and
on
so
it.
I have to remind myself to go in there and look for them
And
sometimes.
I get an email notification when people post comments, so I know there's comments out there.
Yeah.
So anyway,
But yeah, we're happy to have them. Suggestions
Yes.
are always good. Stay tuned for the Seasons of Vermont. You'll see stuff popping up pretty soon. To
So excited.
Yeah, it's a good one.
yes,
Very springy.
yes.
And since we have some weather coming up, you think to yourself, you don't need hat mittens anymore, but actually you do.
You do, yeah. It's
Yeah.
Vermont. It's just March.
Yeah. And April. Yeah.
I mean, one year we got, and within the last 3 years, we got snow in May. So,
Yeah.
and like not a little bit of snow, like a lot of snow.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah. No.
So,
All
anyway.
right. Thanks for hanging out with us, folks.
We'll see you in a
We'll
couple
see you in a
weeks.
couple weeks. Bye.
Let me dig out your email.
I put it updated to the sheet, to
What?
the Google Doc.
Oh,
It's updated in the.
yeah, I can't access it on
In
my
the-
phone, really.
Oh.
Um,
Let me go find it.
I don't think. Oh, yeah, that is gross. I don't know why. Some sort of peppermint hot chocolate tea in there. It's disgusting.
Oh.
But it's warm.
So it's maple lemonade and a cocktail called Diamonds Are Forever.
All right, you're in charge of that part of the discussion.
Okay.
Oh.
But I am. Do I have hibiscus flowers? Some of these syrups I have at home already.
Oh, really? I'm not surprised.
I feel like
Of
I
course, I'm in
should.
the middle of a row.
I might have to grab the hibiscus flower one because there was a question I have put in my notes. You can make this one as a cocktail or as a mocktail,
Mm-hmm.
but I've not actually tried it as a mocktail yet, so I probably
Oh.
should do that.
Well,
Just to make sure.
that it tastes like something.
Yeah, that it actually.
Hibiscus has a fairly strong flavor. Though.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I think it'll probably be okay without
Yeah.
the booze that is in the cocktail version of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But and then I think
All right.
the October one or the fall one is a mocktail recipe that I'm like, oh, you can totally add brandy or bourbon to that,
Okay.
because you
Fine.
totally can. And then the December one is a cocktail that I'm like, oh, you can just take the alcohol out. So I got to test those two and make sure that that's actually
All
true.
right, we got plenty of time for
We
those.
do.
We just need to know about March.
March. No, March is fine because there's a mocktail recipe and then a cocktail recipe. So there's 2 recipes for March. Tested
Okay.
from Run Amok,
Okay.
like legit recipes.
Okay.
Not just me being like, oh, you could totally do that.
Right. I wonder how I can get. Oh, I can probably get there from here.
I have the app on the phone. That's how I get in for that document.
I gotta figure
So
that
there's
out.
an actual
I
like
have Google. I have Gmail, but
Google
I don't.
Sheets and Google Docs.
Oh. Just brings me to my email. All right. Well, this should be fun today. I have no brain power for this.
Probably better than last week though, right? When you just got back.
Oh, when I was driving to White Plains to the city council
my
meeting.
God.
Yeah. Followed by a
can't
trip
even imagine.
down and back to Providence on Thursday.
It
Was a rough week.
I was tired just reading your email.
Yeah, it was Yeah, I was like, yeah, Seasons of Vermont is not happening this week because I have to start drawing lines, and that is going to be a line because it's just not. Yeah.
No, it's fine.
Yes, I'm going to just move this person over here for the moment. We'll bring it back.
We'll bring the little body back.
I feel a little
You feel
less.
Here, I'll recenter.
No, we're good.
No, I'm gonna recenter.
Oh,
I had off
we can have your pretty sweater in the
I had
back.
off centered the mannequin.
Oh, yeah. Yes, it's very cute.
That is cute.
Yeah, so what have we been up to?
You were away for
Oh my,
a long time.
10 days.
Was it awesome?
It was good. It was great. It was great.
That's your story.
Yeah. Well, it rained a lot.
Yeah. It does do that.
It's rainy in Hawaii, it turns out.
Yeah.
And it's not, this is what I keep my story. I have it pretty well practiced, although my brain is kind of broken today. So it's not like Florida, where it rains at 4:00 every day, and you can design your day around that. Like, you've got like solid
rain.
6 hours. This is like, oh, let's get ready to go to the beach. Walk to the beach. Oh, it's raining. Awesome. Let's turn around and go back because it's raining. And you get back and then it stops raining. And you're like, huh.
Do we go back to the
Should
beach?
we try this again? And maybe you do.
Right.
And then it's a torrential downpour.
Yeah.
So it was sunny. It was beautiful. There was no snow. All good things.
Yep.
It snowed almost every day while I was gone, from what I can tell, looking from what I've heard. And
We've had some weird weather.
yeah. So all of that was great. My little conference was good. We had a great time. It's a little hard to see things when it's going to rain every 20 minutes. So, or every 4 hours. Hard to say, not knowing. So, and plus we were 3 days in Kauai, 2 days in Kona, 2 days in Hilo, and then final 3 or 4 days in Honolulu. And so, we were only in a place for 2 or 3 days. So if you're going to see 3 things, you have to see them
right now.
You can't be like, I'll go do that on Thursday
we'll go
because the
tomorrow.
weather will be nicer on Thursday. So we went to the volcanoes. It wasn't too bad on the way down there. When we got to the top, it was torrential rain. Torrential. We got out to the edge of the crater. We saw the crater, and we turned around, and there was this humongous black cloud behind us.
Oh, man.
And we got soaking wet on the way back to the car. I, of course, did not bring any rain gear because I don't know
why would
why.
you?
It's a beach vacation. Who needs rain gear?
Went to a tropical island.
Yes, right. Yes, part of which is a rainforest. As I left the house at 4:00 in the morning or whatever hideous time it was to go pick up my sister, I thought to myself, I should run back inside and grab my rain poncho, which folds up. Did I do that? No, because I was on a mission, get to the airport, do whatever.
Yeah.
So part of our vacation was spent, every store we went into, do they have a poncho?
Right.
Or a little rain jacket for Auntie Jen. As it turns out, it had been raining for 2 months, almost nonstop.
So they were sold out.
There were none. First stop, my sister, my niece has a cold, which she had sort of gotten rid of, and then it came back with a vengeance the night before. Yeah. And so my sister had a moment of should we call this off? We're going to fly for 14 hours or whatever.
Yeah.
But we did. My poor niece, honestly, she was a trooper, but we landed in Honolulu. We had to, that first day was adrenaline rush central. It took us an hour to check our bags at the Burlington airport. We got upstairs. Our flight is boarding. Our boarding group is boarding, not as a flight.
Right.
So there was no time for breakfast or snacks.
Yeah.
We got on the plane. We got off in Chicago. We're now delayed in Chicago. Not delayed. We were late getting into Chicago
so you have very little time to catch.
So we have to change terminals. We have no time to get anything to eat. We get on our 8-hour flight. It's almost no food. They have snack boxes. So and then they made up all the time en route to Honolulu, but then we flew around Honolulu for 45 minutes. And
waiting to land.
Waiting to land.
Air traffic control.
I don't even know why.
You're I don't even care.
We're in the middle of the Pacific. How many air traffic control issues
I don't know.
can there be? As it turns out, apparently some. I don't know. So anyway, we land. We had to get our luggage and recheck it. we get to and we had to change terminals. My poor niece is like the Walking Dead. Her ears are like completely clogged. She was crying because they hurt so much. I mean, it was really not great.
Because then you had to take a hopper to.
Then we had to get another plane. So of course, and I said to my sister, "It's a short, not going all the way up." But I mean, it was tough. So we get there. They're boarding our flight as we walk into that other terminal. There's no one there. The baggage claim, thing where you put your boarding pass in and it prints your luggage tags for you, which of course does not work. None of those kiosks work in my experience. We go up to the counter. I am generally very nice to flight people because they're the people who are going to make you survive this experience. This woman, I've been flying on and off regularly for 20 years now, every other week,
Yeah.
This woman was the worst person I've ever had to deal with in my life. She was obnoxious. She was basically filing her nails. It was the first class counter, but there was no one there, literally no one. There's 25 people 300 feet away in line for something. So we went up to her and I said, "Can you help us? Like, here's the situation. They're boarding our flight. We need to get this luggage checked and get in through security to, She was like, "Well, I can't really do that here." I was like, "Why not? There's no one in line." And so then she dragged us across the airport to that other woman who had 15 people in line, brought us to the front of that line, and said to the woman, "They need to get on this flight." And the woman looked at her. That look was, she didn't even have to say a word. That look was very explicit. I'm not going to use swear words because this is the family podcast.
Right.
But basically that look was like, "Are you kidding me?
Wow.
Get back to your counter, check them in, get them on their way. Like, why are you here?"
Why are you here?
So she drags us all the way back to her counter. The whole time she's checking us in, she was pretty rude, and she was like, "I can't guarantee you're going to make this flight. I can't guarantee your luggage is going to be on the flight." And I was like, "I don't really care. Let's get through this part.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens."
Right.
We run through security, of course. We get through security. They're not even boarding yet. The sign in the airport terminal is like, boarding.
Oh my God.
And of course, by then we've been up for, I don't even know, 20 hours, I mean, it was really, I was at the end of my rope, and that was like the final thing. So we made our flight. We got to Kauai. It was all good. My poor niece, honestly, she was such a trooper.
Did she totally crash? And
her ears were clogged for like the first 3 days. I mean, it was just really, she had a terrible cold. And she was fine, and she did stuff with us, but she was fine.
I feel like when we went, the next day we woke up and like William had something like awful.
Well,
as
I mean,
well,
you're
like
in a plane for 8
super
hours.
nasty cold of some sort.
Yeah,
and
it's
spent like
just,
the first couple of days like not feeling that great either.
She still was not feeling great by the time she was much better by the time we flew home. My sister, of course, spent the entire vacation like, should we go to urgent care and have her ears looked at because they would not unclog. And I was, because she's afraid her ears were going to rupture, and she's a nurse, and anyway, it was all fine. It was fine. We had a great time, all these little stories notwithstanding. Can't go on a trip without a travel story or two.
Right.
But, and it's a beautiful place. If we had to go back again, and, we went to all these places to understand what they were all like. In a heartbeat, I would stay on Kauai the whole time.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
It was just great. I mean,
my favorite one.
Yeah. It was really chill. I just liked the vibe there.
That's my favorite island. I haven't been to any of the other islands. I've only been to Kauai twice.
Yeah.
But I'm not super motivated to go to the other islands because I like Kauai so much.
Yeah, it's really nice. And Kona was beautiful. That's the dry side of the Big Island. There is a wet side, and let me tell you, it is wet. So, particularly in this season. And our Airbnbs, the first one was great. So we stayed in a hotel the first place. So, of course, Kauai was gorgeous because we were
in a resort,
in
right
a
on the
lovely
beach.
hotel.
Yeah.
With the seals right in front of us, snoozing all day long, and sea turtles
Was it
coming.
a Marriott? Because it might be. We might have stayed at the same hotel on Kauai.
We were on the south side, though. I think you said you were on the north.
When we first got there, we stayed a couple of nights on the south side before
The Marriott
we went.
Beach Club was next to our hotel.
I think that's where we stayed, the Marriott Beach Club.
Yeah. There's like 5 in a row. I mean, they're all in the same spot. With the sea turtles and the seals. That part was very cool. We like wildlife in our family, so that was exciting. One of the other downsides was because it had been raining so much, a lot of the trails were closed. I mean, we weren't hiking anyway because Wiley was really not feeling well, but a lot of the trails were closed, and they kept telling you, if you're going here, be careful, that bridge may be out.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, that's how we ended up getting stuck. Cause
I know, and of course in my brain it's like,
you're like, no,
landslide.
Right.
So that didn't happen. And then on Kona, we went, so when it wasn't raining, it was also very windy. And in Kona, we went to the world's most beautiful beach. This beach was beautiful. Turquoise water, sand, like white sand, just like volcanic rock everywhere. We got dressed in the morning. We were going to spend the day at this beach. Sun lotion, sun gear. We drive at 45 minutes to the beach. We get out of the car. It's a 30-mile-an-hour wind. It is sunny, but the wind is blowing. And so there were people, like, you could barely stand up. The wind was blowing so hard. But we were determined. And we were like, well, down by the water, it'll be better. So as we're going down, there's a steady stream of people coming up. And we're like, well, they're just leaving because it's, early afternoon. And we were like, what's it like down there? And they're like, well, it's windy. So we get down there, and there's no one on the beach. This amazing, beautiful, sandy beach. No one is on the beach. Everyone is sitting on the lawn, like right next to each other, which is not our scene. And I was like, And I was like, well, I'm going to walk over to the water because it's beautiful. And of course, we walk out there. So when wind is blowing 30 miles an hour across a sandy beach, it's like getting sandblasted. I mean, it was the most painful experience I've ever had on a beach.
But was it worth it to go down to the water?
I think we're 50-50 on that one. Probably. It was crazy. So a lot of our pictures are like us, no matter where we are, like our hair straight back. It's just, oh gosh, it was fine. We had a good time. It was fine. We didn't get a lot of sun. I did not get sunburned. That's a miracle in itself.
Amazing.
So, I get sunburned just by being adjacent to a window that has sun coming through it. So it was fine.
Nice.
So that was that. And then last week, as we said, was a little messy on the re-entry, but we're recovering from everything. And then on top of everything else, we had daylight savings time change.
Oh, that's just
like, what the hell, people? Come on. So that threw me off this week. It doesn't normally bother me, but this weekend I was just tired.
The last thing I needed was to lose an hour yesterday.
Right. I've got stuff to do.
I do. I have a lot of things to do.
Yeah.
Trying to clean out a bedroom so my children can stop sharing a room.
Fun.
Yeah.
My guest bedroom is still in my living room, so all the renovations did not get completed while I was gone.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Also.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had kind of really hoped that they would be completed while I was gone.
That would have been ideal, right? Because you're not there. You're not there.
He finished one whole room, which is great.
Okay.
Looks great. He is coming back this week to finish the bathroom.
Okay.
We ran into some problems. The third time is the charm on the tile. Perhaps this batch will not be broken when it arrives tomorrow.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Yikes.
And they let it out of the showroom without checking, apparently, because when he opened it all up, a lot of it was broken. So frustrating. Yep.
Yeah.
It's what it is. I have another bathroom. It's all good.
Yeah. Yep.
Could be worse. Could be my only bathroom.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. Are your kids excited?
They are. I think so. The older one is very excited to have his own space.
Yeah.
His sister's, she's neutral right now.
Yeah.
But it's time. He needs a space he can call his own and tell his sister to get out of.
That 3.5-year difference makes a big. Once you're 12 and 8 or whatever, that's how old my sister and I were, and I vividly remember. And we never really had to share a room. We were lucky. So
they're 11 and 6.
Yep.
So it's definitely it's definitely time. So it's fun. One of the things we were doing yesterday was going to the hardware store so he could look at paint chips.
Oh, we're gonna
'Cause
paint.
I told him
Yes.
we were just letting him redo the room. So
That's fun.
we're getting new furniture.
One of my friends did that, and they picked black. Did he pick black?
So-
Please tell me he didn't pick black.
No, he did not, but he has a very interesting color palette.
Uh-oh.
We have a lime green,
Mm-hmm.
which is actually okay. That out of all of them, I was like, oh, that one's actually not bad. Some really dark, like tealy blues, which might also be depending on what kind of vibe he's going for.
Ocean. It's ocean.
Yeah, there's like some like shades of like steel blue, kind of.
Good
There's
Lord, what is there to paint? So many paint colors.
right. I know. There's like one. Well, no, he was just. He
Hasn't picked yet.
No, he
for some
hasn't-
reason
oh,
I was
no.
imagining
No,
like
no,
this.
He
collage.
hasn't picked yet. I don't think he understood when I was like, look, we can go look at paint, that like that basically meant like any color you could conceive of.
Mm-hmm.
He took one look at like the paint thing. We were just at Abishans in
Oh, yeah.
Heinsberg, and he was like, I didn't know there was going to be so many choices.
Oh yes, yeah.
So
Good thing you didn't bring him to Lowe's because there's
right?
like 400
Yeah, no,
more.
Abishans just the Benjamin Moore stuff,
Mm-hmm.
not like 5 different paint companies.
Mm-hmm.
So I looked at like what he had, and I was like, so can I make a suggestion? Because like sometimes he'll let me steer him a little
Navigate,
bit.
yes.
Yeah, and I said, if you really like the lime green, maybe we can see if we can find some lime green sheets for your bed, and then or maybe some sort of really brightly colored comforter
Yeah.
cover for the bed, and then maybe put something a little more neutral on the walls.
Mm-hmm.
So then as you get older, if you don't really like it, it's more
In 6 months when you hate
right,
lime
it'll
green.
kind of go with everything. And he was like, oh yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, because
So-
a paint chip is this big.
Right,
A wall.
yeah, and it's
4
like,
walls.
like it's like borderline fluorescent lime green,
Yeah,
like super bright. But I found sheets that were that color, and a comforter that's like
Stripes.
lime green, navy blue, and like white striped.
Mhm.
So I was like, that's kind of kind of does all of it.
Yes.
So he was like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. So we'll see.
Steel blue. That'd be my recommendation. Nice neutral.
Yeah,
But
or
I
even
understand.
one of
Kids
the
get
like
to choose, right? I mean,
even one of the really darker blues,
Yeah.
like it would make the room small, but it would make it feel really cozy, I think.
Yeah.
So it depends
Yeah.
on like I think what vibe he's going
yeah,
for.
the lighter paint would make it feel bigger. But,
Yeah, no, we were trying to tell him that, and he was like, what do you mean? You're like, I don't know, it's just this weird thing that if you paint something lighter colors, it feels bigger.
Yes.
And if you paint it darker colors, it can feel smaller. And I was like, or cozy. That's not what you want.
Right.
So we'll see.
That's fun.
Yeah, it is fun. It's finally cleaned out of stuff. There's still some furniture in there that we'll have to get.
That he doesn't
moved.
want in there.
Well, it's a futon.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a not very comfortable futon. So it's gonna go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a fun challenge.
Yeah. Of course, I was complaining to my husband. I was like, so Wayfair has like 1,100,000 things on sale this weekend, except the bed that he wants. Why?
Yeah.
So it's still sitting in the cart. We'll see. Maybe it'll go on sale. Probably not.
Yes.
That's my luck.
Yeah.
It's not that expensive.
Well, you know it's going to go on sale like 3 days after.
3 days
you
after
order
I
it.
buy it.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, not before it gets delivered, but after you buy.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
No.
That's how that always works.
Yep. Sure is.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yep. But man, I managed to pack so much stuff into a closet in that room.
Oh,
Because I
so
had to clear
he gets
out
the room, but he
closet.
doesn't get the closet.
No, he gets the closet. I had to clear.
Oh,
out the
right. You're
closet.
saying you had that. You didn't realize how much was in there.
I know. I was like, oh no, there's not that much stuff in here. Oh, there was a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Well, you
Lots
know.
of stuff.
Yeah, and cleaning out this guest room, which did not have a lot of extra stuff, but stuff accumulates in that guest room because it's downstairs, and it's like, people are coming, put something in here room.
Yeah,
And
that's kind of what this room was for us.
yeah, Yeah, it's amazing how much. And then you're just like, why is all this stuff in
Why-
here? Why have I not
I've-
gone to Goodwill? Why have I not?
I've been throwing away a lot of stuff. Like
Yeah.
I've gotten pretty brutal at this point. I
You
was
have
like,
to.
nope, garbage. I think I'm up to like 3 or 4 giant garbage bags of just like stuff that I'm like, nope, it's just gotta go.
and it can't be
just-
donated.
I wouldn't. No, it's like
That's
like,
the joy of
why
being,
do
I don't know,
have
when you live in
this?
Vermont, you're just like, I can save that. I'm going to save that because I'm going to take this part of it and then I'll throw the rest away.
right.
I have a lot of that stuff.
4 garbage bags later, I've been brutally honest about my repurposing capabilities.
Right? That's the downside to being a crafter and a sewer and a whatever because you're just like,
I can do this.
Yes, you can.
I probably could,
Yep.
but why would? Oh, look, the light went out.
But it's daylight savings
Still
time.
light
so-
outside.
Right. It's true.
Should probably turn it back on. Yeah.
Yes. Right.
Yeah. But yeah, so wow. But I did get a new workbench built out of it downstairs.
That's good.
Which is
for
the-
you or for your husband?
Well, no,
He's in the garage, isn't he?
he's in the basement too. He has his
Yeah.
own room in the basement,
Wow. And you have the
Right?
rest of it?
kind of. It's yeah. No, I have little corners, pockets, but because we had a whole bunch of like wrapping paper and wrappings and shipping stuff and like things
Yeah.
like that,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I was
just
like,
piles up.
I was like, why is all this stuff in with my craft stuff? It's like taking up space that I could
Yeah.
fill with yarn or fabric or like other things.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, can you build me another table? Can you build me a table? Like one, like you have like your workbench in there. And so he did. Bunch of scraps. We had like plywood scraps and like
Yeah.
other things. So it's giant. It's probably about the size of this table,
Oh, wow. Yeah.
but higher. And it's got a shelf underneath it.
Mhm.
And so now all the wrapping paper's been organized, all of the gift bags, like all of
Yeah.
the packing supplies,
Mhm.
like all
Yeah.
of that stuff is
That's
now
exciting.
like in its own space in their own bins, like out of
These
my
people will
stuff.
understand just like I do how
Right?
important that is. That sounds awesome.
So-
Seriously,
but-
I would love that. Yeah.
But I also have another giant table because I just lost my room in my bed where I block things.
Oh, right. Right.
So it was twofold because now I have a giant table space to be able to block stuff
Mm-hmm.
for my knitting because my extra bed's gone.
Yeah.
So it is kind of for me, but it's also kind of just
And when guests come, they have to stay someplace else. Even better, right?
yeah, or
Yeah.
William will probably get evicted out of his room
Mhm.
and have to go sleep with his up in his sister's room again,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
because he's getting a full size bed, so it's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
a twin.
Yeah.
It's probably what will happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that'll be fun,
Once he's had a taste of freedom.
right? Oh yeah.
It'll be fine because, it'll just be a short time. People don't, well, I guess when your
Right.
folks come, they're there for a little while. But
I mean, I suppose at that point he'll be old enough that if he wanted to sleep on an air mattress in the living room, he probably could do that too. So whatever, we'll figure
except
it
for
out.
he'll be a full-fledged teenager and he won't want to do that because he'll have to get up too early.
That's true.
Yes.
That's true.
At some point in the next couple of years, there's a button somehow
Yeah.
that gets turned or pushed, and they go from I'm up at 6 a.m. every day to 10. Really, you're getting me up at 10 a.m.
That will be fun when that happens. We're not there yet. 6 a.m. Though I have noticed, like, Abigail gets up earlier than her brother now on the weekends, and
Yeah.
he's still kind of hanging out upstairs. And I figure it'll be even more when he has his own room.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
he won't get woken up or be.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny how my niece honestly was crack of dawn always her whole entire life until like 2 years ago, and then it's just.
Interesting.
While we were in Hawaii, she was up early because all East Coast people are up early in Hawaii.
Yeah.
We were up and ready to go by 7:30 almost every morning.
Yeah, because you can't quite fully adjust. It's a
Yeah.
big number of time zones to try to
Yeah.
adjust to.
Yeah, and luckily it was only 5 right now because
Right now, and now it would be 6.
you're right, exactly. Yeah, we got there just in time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. In the midst of everything else last week, I started my watercolor class that I'm taking at Shelburne Craft School
Awesome.
because, I need another craft. As I spent the weekend sorting through my mother's old paints and throwing them all away because it's been 30 years since someone opened that box. But I have a very cool box easel thing that was my great-grandmother's actually, which somehow survived all of this time. So that was kind of fun to, There's no art supply place around here, as it turns out. There's one art supply. Michael's is, whatever, it's fine. But I was trying to buy locally because that's what we do when you own a local store. You try to do the same thing.
Is there not?
So there's an art supply place on Pine Street, which apparently is open whenever it feels like. That's my assessment after Saturday. And if you're one of those people who runs that place and you happen to be listening, I was there between 11 and 3 on Saturday, and there was no sign of any human being. So, and it was supposed to be open, but so I had to go to Michael's, which was fine, but
right. I feel like there's one in Middlebury.
There might be. I'll have to look because Middlebury is halfway. I mean, it's the other way, but it's that's a good idea. I'll have to double check. Anyway, I would like to support someone local if I can, rather than. Although now I am fully stocked, having been to Michael's 3 times in the past week.
Yeah.
But my assumption is we might go through the paper quickly, so yeah. Anyway, so we'll see how that goes. That was fun.
Awesome.
Another, I think it's 8 weeks maybe.
Cool.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, so now I have homework.
Ooh.
I have to somehow do, which was why this weekend was a little bit of a problem. I needed that extra time.
Yeah. Yep, that extra hour was a big deal.
And plus, I came home from running errands and then I fell asleep for a little while. Yeah. It's all good.
Yeah.
It'll all get done. It always does.
Yeah.
But.
We should.
Yeah.
Yes. That clock's wrong.
Oh, I was like, how is it only 20 to 5?
Yeah, no. It's 20 to 6.
20 of 6.
20 of 6.
Right.
But.
Broad daylight.
It is light outside.
However.
It's amazing.
At 6 a.m. this morning, it was not broad daylight.
Right.
It was last Monday, but it was not this morning.
Yeah.
So.
We'll get there.
Yes. It'll be another month, but
my body has no idea what time it is. Like, I'm like hungry. I hate this time because I'm always like hungry in like weird times. Like, I was hungry at like 11 o'clock today, which doesn't make any sense because it would have been like 10 o'clock. And I had
You
breakfast.
didn't have enough breakfast.
I had normal breakfast.
The one thing I managed to get accomplished this weekend was that I actually made overnight oats, so I have breakfast all week.
Nice.
And they were delicious this morning.
Nice.
So I didn't make the soup and all the other things I was going to make, but
I did have breakfast. Normal size breakfast for me. But I don't know, I guess it wasn't sufficient enough.
Yeah, perhaps not.
So my body's like, whoa, wait, what?
Yeah.
Feed us more. So.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Not much on my side of the table, but there's
Okay.
some things.
I have some random stuff.
Yes,
Like
you do.
little bits and bobs.
You would think for 10 days of knitting and 2 very long flights, I would have more done. But when you're on vacation, you're just not.
Done.
Yeah, and we were busy. I mean, yes, we were whatever, but in between rainstorms, we were busy though somehow. Every day we had an adventure, and then we tried to do a little downtime, but the downtime was like active downtime.
Right.
Somehow.
I mean, when we went last, we still had 2 kids in the group that were taking naps, afternoon naps.
Yeah.
And so we had forced downtime like every day in the afternoon. So
we had lunch.
Yeah.
in the afternoon. So. And it entailed finding places, which was complicated because lots in Hawaii shut down in the afternoon. Which, anyway,
it's very like
another whole set of stories which we will not
siesta-esque, like
go through.
and like Spain and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Although I guess maybe one last story. Sorry. So yarn stories in Hawaii.
Oh yeah.
We are here for you, Hawaiian people. You would think an experienced knitter and traveler like myself, who actually sat down and like planned out what she was going to bring, would bring the right needles for those projects, or at least the cord, which is really all that I was missing. All of my projects were going to be knit on the same size needles, but there was a 16-inch cord because that's what I happened to be using at the time on that project, not the longer cord. That would have been very helpful.
Oh no.
So Ange very nicely had sent me a list of all the Ravelry stores in Hawaii. I am here to tell you that very few of them are open or exist anymore. So there is not a yarn store, as best I can tell, on Kauai. In Kona, there is some yarn available, and they in fact did have one needle in the size that I needed, so that was fine. It was great. I managed to convince my fellow travelers that it was an important stop.
It was an emergency.
Yes, it is actually a fabric store that also sells yarn, and there's not a lot there. So but they do sell fabric, and they had this custom fabric that I did buy because the turtles. We love the turtles.
The turtles are awesome.
Look how cute that is. I don't know what I'm going to use it for. And it's also a whole story in itself because I thought it was 1 yard and it turns out it was 3 yards of this expensive fabric.
Well, so there you go. I've
got plenty of fabric.
Plenty of fabric.
And I was able to get my size 6 wooden needle, clover, because that was what there was. So that was good. In fairness, Oahu probably has some good yarn stores. I did not go hunting there because I had found the needle that I needed, but it was slightly disappointing. There was, you like to buy souvenir yarn or whatever. Yeah. So I bought Ange a little project bag present.
It's so amazing.
At Starbucks. Because, you think, I'm going to find something that will have like cool things or whatever. Mm-hmm. There was not.
I'm very sad.
And I love this anyway. So
that is
very
gorgeous.
Cute.
I love it. I'm very sad that Hanalei Strings was closed.
Several people had recommended once I posted my dilemma, and we went all the way up there, not to go to the store, right. And I went all the way. It was pouring rain as I walked over to that little store, which still sells ukuleles and ukulele parts, but no yarn.
No yarn.
And then someone said, well, maybe the Twisted Turtle in Lahui has it, but that store is permanently closed. So anyway, that's what they say. So anyway, if you happen to be here listening to us from Hawaii, aloha, and we are happy to provide you with whatever you might need.
Ship you some things. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
All right.
It's enough stories.
It's all right. It's all right. Okay. Are we ready?
Yes.